winning ways of the 1924 Fighting Irish gave South Bend and Notre Dame a much-needed image boost. What a lot of people don't realize is that in the 1920s, the Ku Klux Klan was gaining power for their white supremacist ideologies, but also for their disdain of Catholics and Jews. And in May of that year, the KKK announced it was coming to South Bend to stage a protest against Catholics. The result? A three-day confrontation on the streets of South Bend. My colleague Joshua Short interviewed a historian and author, Todd Tucker, about the rise of the KKK and how Notre Dame students and players fought back.
This is an important corner in the city's history, but also the state's history.
Yeah, right here was the site of the South Bend Klan headquarters in 1924, and that was a focal point of the riots. The students gathered and eventually kind of had that building under siege and knocked out all the windows, and that was the center of Klan power in St. Joe County.
University officials were concerned in the weeks and days leading up to the plans. Then Police Chief Larry Lane told the director for off-campus students and other university officials, "If necessary, I shall deputize enough men to stop it. And moreover, I shall make preparations for a machine gun and tear bomb attack if necessary."
We're at was formerly the site of the College Football Hall of Fame, but in 1924, this was the location of a pool hall called Hully and Mike's. It was a hangout for Notre Dame students, the majority of whom lived off campus at the time in town. And on day 2 of the riots, May 19th, it became kind of a makeshift hospital and retreat point as the Notre Dame students were taking a beating that day.
Nonetheless, the planned parade didn't go as planned for the Klan, as seen in some of these headlines, which reverberated around the country at the time. Soon after the riot, this scathing letter was left for the university president, reading in part, "You can thank your lucky stars that you have your buildings intact. For if the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan assembled in South Bend last Saturday had been as lawless as your bunch of anarchist students, they would have wiped the Notre Dame buildings off the earth. Signed, a Kluxer." Talk about the significance of this location.
This was really a critical spot in that whole weekend because this is really where it came to a close. The Notre Dame students in retreat, they kind of gathered here, and Father Walsh, who had tried his best to ignore the riot, then he tried to prevent the students from participating. He reluctantly came out here and gave a kind of a very dramatic speech right here on the courthouse lawn where he implored the students to return to campus.
Knute Rockne was there too, telling the students, especially his players, to go back to Notre Dame.
And they did, and that brought the Notre Dame Klan riot to a close, May 19th, 1924.
When you hear the term Fighting Irish, there is actual history when it comes to that, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a stereotype. That originated as an insult about kind of Irish immigrants and their kind of belligerent nature, and then it's something that the Irish eventually embraced and made the mascot of their favorite university.
Yet another reason to call them the Fighting Irish in an unforgettable year. Meanwhile, the football team kept winning and attracting fans across the nation. But Knute Rockne helped that cause. We'll tell you how the trip to the Rose Bowl was a cross-country PR tour.